All right, what is good? Just want to do a little update here for you. If you were following this channel, we called this stinker right here to basically make a downside continuation pattern. Before you had something like this going on, and you were making really weak attempts to move to your 200 day, which I'll show you right now. You know, I had been saying, you're not gonna, if you can get over this purple area right here, then you'd be in a bull market. But I said that was very unlikely to happen, all things considered, and look what you did. You approached it after pumping a bunch, and then you literally shit your pants. So, yeah, you know what? Bitcoiners get wrecked. I was totally right on my call. And this is kind of about being right in some sense, because mockery is a good way to teach a lesson. Now, if you want to be a good trader, you have to understand technical analysis and charts. You can't just listen to what's being said on Twitter by a bunch of hype beasts, okay? Now, that being said, if you lost money, I'm sorry. That really sucks. It sucks to lose money. No one likes doing that, but that's why on this channel we were telling you about this ahead of time so you could prepare. And if you take a look at the Bitcoin short right here, you had a nice giant pop up, 15% pretty much overnight. So yeah, BITI, that is the Bitcoin short. I wouldn't buy it now because it's probably a little overextended unless you think Bitcoin's going to continue its journey downward, which it totally could. I mean, let's be real. Bitcoiners think they have the secret sauce here, but in reality, there's no way a government is going to let you have your own, commodity money, your own currency that you're just going to be able to use. They're never going to allow something like this. So my suggestion to you is, if you are in crypto or the stock market, learn how to play the game. Basically, learn how to play the stock market within the rules of the stock market. Because if you try and play outside of the rules, if you try and play in crypto land, you could make a shitload of money, but let's in all reality, look, you're pretty much right back where you started years and years ago. I mean, that was 742 days. I don't know. I've done a lot of videos on here explaining why Bitcoin is not a reserve asset. If we go and take a look at Bitcoin divided by gold, you're just ranging sideways, pretty much making lower lows. This looks like just a sort of bear flag to me. So you probably pop up, do a little more dancing around in this box, eventually hit resistance over here, and then fall down even more on your face, because Bitcoin is not a reserve asset for the upteenth millionth time. Bitcoin is a speculative tech asset. Here's Bitcoin versus silver. I don't know what this blue line is here for, but you can see Bitcoin divided by silver has reached this ratio 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different times now. So this is definitely a big support resistance area. Right here it was resistance, here it was resistance, here it was resistance, then it was support. Now you're getting some mild support here, but it really doesn't look that strong to me. Let's take log off. Here, if you take the log scale off, you can see how even more disappointing this is. I mean, and you're in a period of high inflation. What are you going to put your money in? You're going to put it in this thing, which is barely eking out higher highs against silver. I mean, here's a 2017 high. Here's a 2019 high. There was your most recent bull run, which, I'll admit, that's a big move. That's a big move on silver, 600%. But when you can't sustain the move, when you go back down 71, 70, 80%, what is the point? And I wanted to show you something else that goes along with this reserve asset theme, which Bitcoin is not, which I will probably keep hammering down on this channel, because the Bitcoin community all the glitters are gold within the Bitcoin community. And, this time it's, oh, FTX. FTX was the reason Bitcoin crashed. Last time it was Terra Luna. Last time it was Celsius, whatever. The narrative always comes pretty much as the move is being made. So, give me a second here. We're going to go to, look at some precious metals, real reserve assets. We're going to turn this on log scale. Oh, no, we want this one. SPX divided by gold. So this is basically your ratio of the S&P priced in gold. Now, I'd like to point out something. So here is the .com bubble, okay? And then here is the financial housing market crash. And so here is COVID. Oh, come on. And then right here is the Great Reset, the financial reset that we're in right now. So your yield curve, if you know what the yield curve is, let's add the yield curve to compare. So your yield curve, we'll pen to a new left scale. So this just fucked everything up. Okay, so your yield curve, if you understand the concepts behind the yield curve, you'd know that every time the yield curve inverts, which would be here, 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 and here, the stock market pretty much shits its pants. Well, now the yield curve hasn't uninverted yet, but it's going to at some point, and the market will shit its pants again. Now, when that happens, do you really think governments, big banks, and people with millions of dollars are going to put their money into Bitcoin? Bitcoin is hopium for plebs, is what I've come to find out. Now, the hopium sometimes works, and you sometimes can make money on it. But this is the thing, gold, that people put money into, and I mean big players put money into when the stock market's going to shit its pants. So here from the 2000s all the way to 2011, this whole entire decade, the S&P lost 80% of its value, 90% of its value relative to gold. And if you continue along in this channel and you think, well, you are in the same camp as I, and you believe that this entire decade is going to be a shit show because, the pandemic was phase 1, the Great Reset is phase 2. This is how sovereign governments and assholes like Trudeau are going to institute socialism across the world. Step 1, step 2. Now the economy, you're not going to see the economy really, really be in the doldrums of shitting itself for, a year or two. So I expect this to continue on down, and you might even have a whole decade here where stocks just bleed out to precious metals, over the course of a decade. Now, let's say I'm wrong, and for some reason the economy completely turns around and the global socialist elite give up on their plan to subjugate you and make you eat bugs, which let's say I'm wrong about that, which, I could be wrong. I hope I'm wrong, but that's we're not trying to consume hopium here. We're not trying to blue pill ourselves. In the blue pill is the pill Cypher took. It has nothing to do with your left or right politics. If you don't know who Cypher is, go watch The Matrix. But anyways, let's say I'm wrong and stocks continue to do something like this and then they pop out and go that way. For this, you would need just for the S&P to continue to move against gold, you would need such high liquidity in the dollar. You would need treasury rates at a very low value, because if you look at treasury rates, here they were. This is basically the effective federal funds rate, they were pretty much here around 0.25, pretty much around zero. If you take a look, they were pretty much around zero around here, and then they went up. So when your funds rate is really low, it's really easy to borrow dollars. It's really easy to borrow money. Now, all of a sudden, since they've changed all the interest rates and they're going to keep hiking, dollars, i.e. liquidity, i.e. debt, is harder to come by, and you're seeing all sorts of banks and institutions go insolvent. This time it was FTX, before it was Celsius, before that it was Terra Luna, and the whole crypto space is just that's the canary in the coal mine, if you want to think about it, because the whole crypto space is all high beta tech assets. That's all like more high beta stuff than ARK and the NASDAQ together. So that's the canary in the coal mine right there, in my opinion. So obviously this is kind of going everywhere at this point, but I just wanted to illustrate to you that historically, here's SPY versus SPY, or the S&P priced in ounces of silver, and as you can see, it looks like you're getting a little tired here. It looks like you might have a whole ass decade again where precious metals outperform stocks, and those obviously happen during times of crisis. So here's the decade I'm talking about. Here's the dot-com bust, and then you had your housing financial market crisis, and for better part of a decade, 96 to 13, I mean, that's even more than a decade. That's like 2.5 decades. You just played around in this range, and you had silver and gold outperform during that whole time. Let's show you what else. Here, this is an interesting one. This is the S&P divided by the M2 money stock. So this is the stocks divided by the total amount of, this is stocks divided by total amount of dollars within the system. Now we have basically what's going on with the Fed is a liquidity crunch since they're tightening. And you can see right here during the dot-com bubble, and right here during the pandemic, COVID's Great Reset thing, here and here, you went up and touched this trend line, and then you went back down to this regression area. Now, no one has a crystal ball. No one can say when that or if that's going to happen again. But I think you're in for another decade of pain, where you do something like this, and then you really don't get out of this, because I mean, the only thing the Federal Reserve and the United States government can do anymore to back up their debt dollar, because the dollars are based on debt, they're not based on anything else. The only thing they can do in the end is print more and more money. Now, if you see this, so stocks versus the M2 money supply, they haven't been making higher highs this whole time. So the stock market started making higher highs here, and here. If you just look at the S&P, right, that would be like here. You have higher asset prices, but if you compare that to the total money supply, you're actually making lower highs. So this is extremely bearish, and the only thing the Fed does is pretend to know what they're doing and rob from the American people continuously, because they're a private banking cabal. And they'll play their printing games. You guys know, money printer go burr. So what I'm saying is, ditch your stupid shitcoin, Bitcoin, and buy some precious metals, things that actually do relatively well in periods of high inflation. Now, I don't have the other half of this chart. If this went back into the 70s, I was watching a channel the other day. It's pretty much the same story, because you have the 80s here, and I think it was kind of lower, but when the 70s, let's say the 70s is around here, which was another period of high inflation, gold did historically well, and I really think that's going to be the case again. So buy precious metals, forget your fucking shitcoin, Bitcoin. Your world governments are never going to allow you to use it. Canada's already set the precedent there. They blocked the trucker protests from using Bitcoin. And, every time I bring something like that up on any of the Bitcoiners, they have some creative, clever excuse as to why that's not the case. Anyways, gold go uppy over time. Bitcoin, it sort of go uppy. I mean, there's just still not enough of a historical precedent. We don't have enough data to really say what Bitcoin's doing, because Bitcoin's never existed in a period of high inflation and Fed tightening and, yada, yada, yada. Anyways, it's shitting its pants right now. If it can get above, it could still turn bullish here pretty soon. I mean, I don't know. You play the market how you want. This is not financial advice. I can show you charts all day, and no one views these videos right now, but I still feel very obligated to do it because I had rose-colored glasses, or I thought all the glitters were gold with cryptocurrency, and I really came to find out really shortly in the past year that that's really not the case for a large amount of fundamental reasons. And here's some more proof that that Bitcoin is not actually doing better than stocks, like some people like to say. This is your NASDAQ divided by Bitcoin, so you can see for how much one portion of the NASDAQ costs in Bitcoin. And you can see I had this speculative head and shoulders pattern drawn right here, but you can see that was kind of invalidated, and the NASDAQ, which has been absolutely shit this year, is actually, so if we take this is 21, this is about when the whole market-wide crash started. Over the past year, 300 something. Yeah, the NASDAQ has done 161% better in a bear market than Bitcoin. The NASDAQ has been puking its guts out, guys. Let's look at the NASDAQ real quick too. Here we'll use QQQ because that's basically the NASDAQ. Yeah, so NASDAQ is down fucking 30% on the year, but it's 160% better than Bitcoin. Come on. This is shit, guys. Fuck Bitcoin. Do your own financial research, though. I mean, this is speculative. So take everything you hear with a grain of salt. But seriously, the writing is on the wall.